Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. And a special prayer goes out to all of the people in Israel. War is a terrible thing and evil does exist. We have to pray. We have to pray. Puts all the rest of this stuff in pretty slim context, doesn't it? In just a few minutes, Rich Vinci is going to be with us talking about the consulting world of consulting. He has always some interesting observations about what's going on out there in the consulting world, and he's going to talk to us about that this evening. I thought I would. This is amusing. It is sad. It is laughable in some cases, and it's just plain crazy. But I thought I would go over some of the 4 or 5 things that have come up in the past couple of weeks that we have seen candidates and companies do in the hiring and job search process. And when I wrote my first book, I wrote a chapter on funny things that I've seen happen, crazy things that I've seen happen, nutso things that I've seen happen. And my publisher made me take it out because she said that nobody would believe me. Well, you can believe this stuff because it happened. First of all, there was a candidate who just yesterday told me that he couldn't take a job that he had gone to interview for because he had to work from home. The company didn't want people to work from home. They had come back into the office. They expected people to come back into the office. Keep in mind that this guy has been out of work for almost a year. And I finally found him somebody that would entertain him, that would hire him. And it wasn't probably the best job in the whole world, but he needed to get back to work. And he couldn't take the job because he had to work from home. And he had to work from home because he had just bought a puppy. And it was a 3 or 4 month old puppy. And he couldn't leave the puppy home crated up all day. And the puppy was too young to take to daycare. And so he had to pass up the job. He passed up a job because he had this puppy that he had to take care of. So he had to find a job where he would work from home. It was about as demotivating as I could imagine. Just not going to do that. I couldn't believe it. But it was true. Who would make that up? And we had the candidate that accepted 3 jobs. Last Friday, a week ago last Friday, this lady accepted 3 jobs, all on a Friday. And 2 of them were our jobs, and one of them was not. When my clients called me up and said that the candidate had taken the job, and 2 of them called up and said she had taken the job, I, of course, gave her a call and asked her what was going on. And she said, cool your jets, pal. I've taken 3 jobs. One of them isn't yours. I've accepted all of them. I am going to decide over the weekend which one I'm going to show up at, and I'll let you know which one. It was a little hard to believe. I've seen this done before. Over the years, I've seen it done a couple of 3 times. She ended up accepting one of our jobs and turning down the other 2. A little disingenuous, to be factual, but nonetheless the kind of thing that happened. Then there was the employer that said he told 3 people he was going to hire them, all for the same job, and that he was probably going to give them a call and hire them, and he was going to call them on on the next day and make arrangements with them. And all three people thought the guy told them that he was going to hire them. Just real bluntly, he was going to hire them. And of course, we heard from three candidates that the employer told him he was going to hire them and knew that the guy couldn't hire all three of them. And of course, called the employer and asked him what was going on. He said, well, I decide which one I would hire and give them a call and hire one of them. He didn't hire anybody. He decided not to hire anyone. I don't know why he did it. It is not nice to do that with people. But nonetheless, they did. Nobody's ever going to admit to silly stuff like this. Silly, it's almost criminal stuff like this. But nonetheless, people do it. And after a while, you've been in my profession, you expect things that you shouldn't expect. People don't do what they're supposed to do. They do crazy things. What Teilhard de Chardin said are spiritual beings acting human. They do things that they'll never admit that they will do to anybody. You just got to expect that. That is part of the deal, and there isn't anything you can do about it. You got to realize that lots of strange things happen. People are strange. They just do things that you wouldn't expect anybody to do. Guy that was out of work for a year, he needed a job. He'd been begging me for a job, and I finally found one that a company would be interested in him and lined him up, and then he couldn't take the job because of a puppy. Now, some of you may think that's quite all right. I don't. I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. I don't know whether it's so disappointing or to be mad. Doesn't do any good to be mad. I gave that up years ago. But people do strange things. That's all there is to it. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.